So we're back. Yep, it's about to start already. So we're right on time. Stream starting in 15 seconds. God damn. Also, if you guys want to check me out on socials, here's the social links. Right, and so it begins. Oh man. Oh wow, it's muted. Hang on. Alright, that's the first reveal. The one we saw when way back. Here comes connection work. Yeah, we saw the teaser already. Can you place it on theater mode? Sure.
Hi everyone, my name is Philippe Ducharme. I'm senior producer on Dead Space. With me here today is Roman Campos Oriera, the creative director on the project.
Hello everyone.
T'es prêt, Roman?
Toujours.
All right, let's get started. So what we're about to do today is a bit unorthodox for us at EA. We're going to give you, with this live stream, a first look at some very early, and I'll say very, very early footage.
Very, very, very early.
Footage from the game. But we wanted to do this because we want to be open with the communication and open about how we're tackling this game. However, I want to be clear. This is not a gameplay reveal. We're not going to be showcasing very long sections of the game or one full chapters. We want to give you all an early look at the game that we're making to be able to see reactions across the community about the game that we're making. And there's two reasons why we want to do that. First, at Motives, one thing that really is important for us is that we want to create a game that excites players. And I think that SARS Squadrons was actually a great example of this. It came from the nostalgia that the team had over the X-Wing versus TIE Fighter franchise, and it carried through in the experience that they created. And it's a little bit what we want to do for Dead Space. We see this project, and we want to make sure that we're honoring the legacy, that we stay true to the source, true to the original. And for us, the best way to do that is to engage with the community early on, to be able to give you first look inside, like behind the curtain, and see the game that we're making, and be able to think, to see how we're tackling it. And we've actually been doing this since the very beginning of the project. We got in contact during the conception phase with the community council that we've created, some hardcore Dead Space fans that remain active even after years of inactivity for the Dead Space franchise. And with this community council, we've established a relationship where we gave them first look at some of the executive presentations that we were making within EA, some of the creative brief, game design documents, first playable footage of the game. And in exchange, we asked them brutal feedback, like, what are we making? Is it good? Is it what fans expect out of this remake?
Where does it suck?
Where does it suck? Like, most importantly. And for this live stream today, we're actually thrilled to have two of the community council members with us, joining us. So we have Jackie Butler and Khalif Adams joining us for this live stream. Hello, Jackie. Hi, Khalif. How are
They
you?
better really
Hi,
respect
Phil.
and
Hi,
stay
Roman.
true to
We're
the
doing great.
original.
Very excited to be
Honestly,
here.
for sure.
Excited to see
Great.
you both, seeing that you're all hanging out in Montreal looking good. I see they got you all made up, looking cute. I love it. I appreciate it. I'm Khalif Adams, one of the hosts, or the
So
host
yeah,
of the Spawn
definitely
Unnamed
everyone's
podcast. I'm
having
super
high
excited to be
expectations
here.
for
I'm a
this.
huge Dead
Honestly,
Space
even for
fan.
me, because I
I've
know
been
EA
waiting
can
for this
be
for a
EA.
very long time, and I
So
get to rock
you're
with one
still
of my
hoping they
favorite content creators on
actually
the
do
planet.
this remake
Jackie, let the folks
well.
at home know a little bit more about you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jackie Butler. I'm a cardiac nurse extern, soon to be RN, as well as a streamer and content creator here on Twitch. Let me tell you, Khalif, Roman, Phil, There's very few games that I wish I could experience for the first time again. One of those is obviously Dead Space. So I'm literally over the moon to be here. No pun intended, you know what I'm saying? So let's get straight into it and talk about the Dead Space remake.
Right, let's get right
All right,
into
let's
it.
get started.
So we're gonna dive right in with the classic dark and claustrophobic headbanger hallway. Shown here on the screen is what Dead Space looked like in 2008. Although revolutionary for its time, let's see the design process and how it looks now. Roman and Phil, can you show us more?
Yeah, so actually, one of the first things that we did was we went back to the legacy assets for the game. So we wanted to recreate with the proxies, the full ship, the Ishimura, to recreate it. And then our art team went in and started an added level of details to the environment so that we could have a higher fidelity and start seeing what can the game look like on next generation of consoles. So we went in, added details, then started working on the shaders and the materials to try to have that metallic look that we were after, and just like to get the right materials out of the environment. From there, we did like a first pass at lighting to try to get the mood right, because the atmosphere of Dead Space is pretty much on lighting, and then on VFX to try to get like that full picture of what are we after, what are we trying to achieve for the game. And it looks great on a few stills, but it actually looks way better in game.
So what type
It
of
better be.
engine did you guys use to create this? And what graphics are you aiming for?
So great question, Jackie. We're using Frostbite as our dev engine, and we're going for obviously high-end graphics, high-end fidelity, and our focus is on lighting, VFX, and just overall audio experience to make sure that we would deliver the right atmosphere, something that was key in the original game.
Yeah, so I know we have a real live functional build currently. Can you bring that up?
Only
And this again is a
pre-production
work in
development build.
progress.
It is a
So
work in
yes,
progress, but
that's
it
super early.
actually
Like
looks pretty
it's
good.
end of pre-production build. We are just starting production, so it's really, really, really far from being done. But one thing we really wanted, and you touched about it, it's really wanted to make sure that we nailed the ambience, and not only the look, the lightings, the VFX, the fog, but also nail that ambience. Give you the feeling that you're in the Ishimura, you're inside those dark corridors. And not only it's in engine, it's actually in game. And here's my boy Isaac. So that rig, that armor, it's not the original, it's a new one. It's still work in progress. It's gonna be improved a lot, but it gives a first taste at Isaac Clarke in the remake. And look, here we are.
Damn, it looks really
I mean, the
smooth.
lighting, everything looks phenomenal.
It actually
smoke.
does.
It looks
This
so
is-
good.
Very much what we should be expecting at this point from next generation graphics.
Yeah,
It's really
this
Dead
looks pretty
Space,
good.
but like you never saw it, I think.
So it has been almost 13 years, since the original game came out, the original Dead Space. Why is this remake happening now, and what exactly is this remake? Can you elaborate on that?
So one thing that's
Wow,
important
this
for
corridor
us,
looks
and
actually ominous
that's
in this.
why it's
Wow.
for PS5, Xbox Series, or for PC, is that it's not about one thing. Like Dead Space is a super strong experience, and so it's really about improving on a lot of different elements to create that original but still new experience. Whether it's the new lighting and ray tracing, whether, like Phil mentioned, it's about audio, whether it's improvements to gameplay and having new zero-G, or as you're going to see maybe later, improvements on dismemberment and how you actually deal damage to the enemies, whether it's about having an unbroken and continuous experience. It's about doing a lot of improvements and how we enrich that experience. And so that's really what that remake is about.
Yeah, because we have been looking at Reddit, we've been looking online, and there has been some people in the community noting that the game already stood the test of time. This is still considered to be "quote unquote" a perfect game.
Exactly. And so, like we show, like I mentioned, what's really important for us, it's to capture that original ambience, that original experience, but like you've never experienced before. And that's really the age we're after, I believe.
Yeah, and I mentioned it earlier. Like we want to make sure that we're honoring the legacy. That's one of our production pillars that we have for the game. But at the same time, we want to make it relevant for today. Like the games have evolved a lot since the original Dead Space came out. From obviously graphics, which is like the easiest way to see how it changed, but also as far as systems.
Not easiest necessarily to make.
Well, no, not easiest to make. No, that's for sure. But as far as systems, as far as just opportunities for gameplay and how to leverage it, that's something that we think that, given the evolution that Dead Space had within its own franchise with Dead Space 2 and Dead Space 3, but also how the franchise, how just the game industry evolved outside Dead Space, there's opportunities for us to make a better, a more complete experience, let's say.
Yeah, I'm just blown away at how good everything looked from just even that small glimpse into the engine. It feels like, I know you're saying it's really early, but it's just,
Yeah.
this is my goodness, what is it going to look like when you wind up getting kind of further down the line? So that's really fantastic.
We might keep some surprise for later. Yeah.
Okay, legit. I really do hope they bring back the
So,
voice actor
will
of
you now
Isaac
show
for
the
this
stat
one.
comparison of the original 2008 game versus the current project? Yeah, that's a massive difference. You remember
It's
your
actually,
favorite
yeah,
game in a certain way, and you think that it
there's
looks
actually a
great, but then
big
when you see
difference in
improvements,
graphics.
it's wow, big difference, big difference.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see just how far we've come in terms of technology, right? Like it was only 13 years ago, but it seems like we've gone leaps and bounds where we're able to kind of take it. All the kind of small details you're seeing on the newer model of Isaac is really fantastic to see.
What are your current goals for the remake exactly? How are you going to honor the legacy of Dead Space? Because that is huge shoes to fill. Bar is set high.
Well,
Yeah,
it
it's
is
just like
definitely,
it's
and
really the
like the
bring
team
like
is actually extremely
it's a lot of
passionate.
things to fill up in
We're
this show.
referencing a
It's
lot
a
of the
very
original
beloved
game,
game.
having a lot of looks at it, and like I said, by making it relevant, we're looking at different games and what they did, and see how can we bring it back inside Dead Space. So, like one of the example is something that we're trying to do is to have an unbroken experience, to make the game fully seamless. And how can that create an experience where the players even more immersed within the game than was previously the case?
And it's really one of the big objectives that we have for that game is that from even before the start screen till the end of the game, the rolling credits, to never have any break of experience, to have that full and uninterrupted sequence shot. And so that, of course, has a lot of impact on what we're building. And just starting with how the Ishimura and the structure of the game is built, because we don't want any cut. So there should be no loading. The full ship should be walkable from end to end seamlessly, etc. There's a lot of elements that start to unfold when you start to think the game through that lens of really unbroken immersion.
And like really from the get-go, like we gave ourselves an objective. Like if possible, could we have players wanting to take the controller and play for 12 hours straight, never putting them down, not even going to the bathroom, just because they were so immersed within the game.
Yeah, if
and
there
that's what
really
we're after.
legitimately
That's
won't
like
be
the
any
type of
loading
immersion that we
screens
want
on
to be
Dead
able to
Space
achieve.
1, that will
That's
actually
going to be a
improve
back of
the
the box quote.
immersement
You
of
can't go to the
Dead
bathroom
Space
on the
1.
back of the box.
That's a pretty cool
I
idea,
appreciate it. But I
actually.
also heard you talk about, how you want to double down on, or at least really focus in on what makes Dead Space fantastic around the horror aspect of the game too. I'd love to hear more about that.
So of course, horror it's one of the main pillar of Dead Space, and it's about a lot of elements in Dead Space. So of course, the story, it's about that. It's that iconic survival horror story. You're alone, trapped on that hulking spaceship. But the main element for us was to get the ambience right, and so that's why we started with elements like, for example, the Headbanger Corridor or the workshop that you can see in the teaser, is to make sure that we capture the ambience. It's about more than just the gore or the monsters or the story or the character. It's really about the Ishimura and how isolated and stress you feel when you're inside that chip. And so that's really an important pillar for us. And so that's why we want you to be fully immersed and to never be able to pull out from that experience.
The pacing was so good. Like, it was a master class in pacing, the original Dead Space, to keep you on the edge of your seat all the time. And that's actually something that we challenged the team early on. Like, how can we make sure that we don't break that recipe, that we don't break the right amount of nothing happening that's going to actually increase the level of tension when you're playing. And so far, the team's been taking that challenge and doing an amazing job at it. And it's always something that's at the back of our head in every review that we're doing, and they're delivering amazing work on it.
It's one of the things, it's how can we keep players constantly on their toes, and we might have some surprise coming on that, and on how much you can be surprised even when you're doing something you wrote. It's a lot of fun.
So what would this stream be without necromorphs? Isn't that what we are really here for? When we say cut off their limbs, you know, we want you to experience every gory detail of dismembering iconic necromorphs. Now we will showcase our dismemberment gym. The dev team has created a peeling system that will be implemented into combat. Would you mind telling us more about the original system versus the new system and what peeling actually means?
I think actually something that's very important, as you can see with the feed, like
Yeah,
it
I
is
never
definitely a gym.
seen a necromorph
And
for
it's
quite a while
intentional.
now.
We showcase this in a gym because we're so early with it. Visually, we're not at the right level of quality where we want to achieve, but we want to showcase functionality here. That's what we want to talk about, and what is the system that we have in mind for peeling, like you said.
So obviously, same thing, it's a really early build. It's
Yeah.
a gym. Everything that you see is work in progress. It's first implementation. A lot of VFX are missing. A lot of those modelizations are not final and missing a lot of things like flesh tearing, etc. But one thing that is important for us that I just show, it's first, of course, dismemberment is back. And it's back with all the depth and fun you can have in that space. But one thing we wanted to, and those are the only things, those are the things you can say only on Dead Space. One of the thing we wanted to improve about that experience is when you're using a weapon that is not a carving weapon, like something, not like the plasma cutter. Plasma cutter is really fun to use. You can just shoot at anything, and really you have that instant feedback of the limb getting cut, etc. But
Yeah,
when you had a different weapon,
it looks
knowing
pretty
how much
smooth.
damage you were
It's
dealing
actually
to the
good.
enemy, how was he reacting, etc., it was not necessarily as visceral and as clear as the original. And so that's the thing we're working on at the moment, and we call peeling. It's basically that body destruction technology that we're developing that is allowing us to really remove, so at the moment, the flesh out of the bones of the enemy, and to
Oh
give
wow,
you
that's a nice
a
detail to
good
know
sense
how
not only of
much damage he took
gore,
to necromorph.
aura, and ambience, but
The
also of how
the
much
flesh
damage am I
being
dealing to that opponent.
shot off
Is my
to
weapon
reveal the
actually
bones. It's
useful
actually a
against
cool
this one? How
detail.
close is he to die? And that's something for me that is really interesting. And so when we were speaking about why doing a remake and where can we improve, those are an example of what we can do is that we don't have anymore to choose which feature we actually want to push. We can have dismemberment. We can have much more precision and body destruction. We can have seamless loading for the wall ship,
Yeah,
etc., etc. And that's
peel
something
the
really,
peeling
really
off the flesh
interesting
so you could
for us.
actually see how much damage
And
he dealt is
another
actually
thing that
really a
is
good
actually
detail.
really interesting is that system. So again, for the moment, it's really early. For the moment, you're only showcasing it on the naked slasher, so you only see it with the flesh. But of course, later it's going to support like the claw, body armor, different layers, weak points, etc. But it also improves one of the core of shooting in Dead Space, which is around the precision, and not only the precision of my weapon, but as an example, the precision of the plasma cutter. And so if I was to shoot, let's say, on that leg, then if I'm shooting here, I'm not going to cut the leg because I'm not shooting at the place where the bone is actually visible. If I need to, if I want to cut that leg now, I need to be much more careful and precise in my aiming and in the shooting. And then for us, what is interesting is that it opened a whole new layer of shooting and combat loop where you can have some weapons that are better at carving through the enemies, some weapons that are better at cleaning them. Sorry for the mic. Some weapons that are better at cleaning the enemy and removing the flesh and the tissue, etc. And that's something really, really interesting for us.
Anytime Roman speaks about dismemberment, he gets overly passionate and expressive about it. Even with the team internally, he shows a lot of passion in that topic. So
Yeah.
I can just imagine you being on the phone and talking to somebody who's like, "Yeah, we need to get more body dismemberment and more destruction on the body," and people are just like, "What in the heck is he talking about?" But it looks great.
Sometimes,
Yeah, it looks amazing.
sometimes there's weird moments like that in the team where you do a meeting about dismemberment and blood and gore and dead bodies, and you misspell somebody's name and you're inviting somebody else to that meeting that is not part of the team, and they go like,
Oh, I know. Brace yourself, strap in. So Roman, on what level can we expect the detail of filleting necromorphs, essentially? How detailed are we
So-
talking here?
in terms
Wow.
of the body destruction, the peeling, it's going to be really super detailed, as we can see on that video. So that's the first steps of that technology, if the video is playing, which is not, I think, at the moment. Yes, here we go. You can see that it's really super precise. It's exactly where you're aiming, where you're shooting. It's exactly respecting the shape of the projectile at the enemy. If it was fire, you would see it going through the body of your enemy and burning the flesh, etc. It's the peeling, that body destruction system is going to be super precise.
Wow.
In terms of
Quite a
sheer
level of detail
dismemberment,
they
and
added
then
to
where
the
you're able
necromorphs.
to cut the necromorph's limbs. Here, where we want to improve it, because we feel like characters like the slasher, for example, it was already really deep in terms of gameplay. Like, they are different behavior based on whether you were cutting the legs or the head, where they go berserk, etc. So here our goal, it's for enemies like slasher, it's not necessarily to improve or give more precision.
Looking at
when
the
you
skull
cut
pretty much
the
just
enemy.
reminds
It's
us
more
that
to
these
try
used
to
to be living
extend
humans, so
that
it
fun
just
and
a
that
really
depth
great
to
new level
other
of detail
enemies
they added to the
that
necromorph.
tend to be a bit lighter in terms of dismemberment and behavior, like, for example, the infector or the brute. Like, I can't wait to show you when you get behind the brute and you start to peel his
Oh my
back
God,
and dig
yes.
for weak points.
Oh, I can't wait.
That's the type of improvement we're going for.
get to the weak points.
Yeah, I love the peeling of the different layers of skin down to the organs and bones, especially coming from a medical background. It's just insane to see. The level of expectation is very much up here, and we'll hold you accountable.
One thing that you might have noticed quickly in the prototype, and that's something we want to experience a bit more. We want to dig a bit more. It's when you actually cut a limb, but there's still a layer of flesh. We don't necessarily always want the limb to go out and fly away, and sometimes we keep it attached by the layer of flesh or tendrils to the body. So currently that VFX is missing, but the technology to keep it attached and dangling is there. And so you can grab those with kinesis to make it a bit faster to dismember them, and then you can throw them back to the opponent. I think we'll speak a little bit more about kinesis after, but that's also the power and weapon synergy loop. That's also something we want to try to improve in the Dead Space remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, by bringing it back, like it gives you an option to. We actually took back the impalement from Dead Space 2, so it gives you an option to actually impale your enemies. That's right in
Oh,
front of
there's
you,
actually
and
going to be
using it as a
impalement
projectile
in Dead
against your
Space
enemies.
1,
So
just
it
like,
gives you more creative opportunities.
so they're going to
to
add
kill your
in
enemies,
aspects
really.
from
So that means that we're
Dead
gonna
Space
go
2.
from we're gonna continue to have cut off your limbs, and we're gonna have dangle your limbs too. Be the thing that people are gonna start screaming in the chat pretty soon. One of the other, you talked about, how some of these pieces of tech are adding to the improvements of what this
So
remake is going
now,
to wind
like,
up being. I'd
impalement
love
will
to hear you
be
kind of
back
talk a little
in
bit more
the
about,
remake,
some
so you
other
could
improvements
pin
that we've seen, not only in
necromorphs
scale
again.
in terms of rooms that we've seen before. We saw the headbanger room a second ago, but I want to dig into, and let's pull up the zero G therapy room, which I think also
Okay.
showcases this kind of next layer of where you're thinking about
So,
going from an improvements perspective.
oh
Let's
shoot.
talk a little bit about
The zero G here
where
is
you're
now
kind of seeing this
basically.
move. We see Isaac kind of in the space right now, floating around the space. Probably going to show off some of his thrusters and stuff in a minute. I'd love
So
to
he's
hear more
actually gonna
about
use his
kind of where
thrusters now instead
you're
of the
thinking about in
leaping.
terms of
I'm not
improvements
gonna
in this layer
lie.
too.
The zero G parts
So
in Dead Space 1 can
for
be very
us, Ray,
tedious.
going back to the original Dead Space, it was something that we felt, so again, super early build, that we felt
I'm
we
glad they
could
went with
actually
this
improve
zero
in
G
terms
style
of
of Dead Space 2
experience and
instead of the
immersion.
original. This
It's
one's
the
way
zero G
better.
and how you would move around in zero G. And that's something that was really good and improving the experience in Dead Space 2 and 3 that we felt was really missing in the original Dead Space. And so
Yeah.
that's why we took that mechanic of flying around when you're in zero G and with much more 360-degree freedom. And now you can play Dead Space and really feel you're in space during those moments. And so also
True.
that's a mechanic that we're starting to improve a bit on. Like for example, now you can interact as you fly around. You can go into tighter corridors, those kind of things. But also, it allows us to revisit some of the old content and create new ways to navigate, new paths. Like here in the original, you
Yeah,
would
this
have
is
gone back through that
definitely
door
they're
through where you
they're
came
adding
from.
in
And here,
the
it allows
improvements of
us to
later Dead
create
Space games
new
into this remake,
environments with
which is really
eventually
neat.
new
That's a good
challenges
way to
to
remake the first
surprise
game.
also the people that know the game and will be like, oh, wait, what's that? What's new? And now we're going to surprise you here.
So it's really delivering on the fantasy of being in space, making sure that we're able to use that and revisiting all the places in the game. In the original, where there was zero G, which was the Superman jump back in Dead Space 1, and now applying full 360 motion and finding ways to provide a real challenge in those type of environment. And so far, there's been very good ideas like this one about how can we retraverse through the same environment and provide something new for the players. So we're definitely on the lookout for these opportunities when we revisit each of these gameplay sections.
Love that.
Yeah, for me in the original game, that zero G jump was very disorienting. I don't know if anyone else agrees with this, but
Oh
it
yeah,
made me
it's
very
very
disoriented.
disorienting.
Seeing quality of life improvements carried from 2 back into 1 with the thrusters and the movement is incredible. That's a huge improvement as is. It's
It's
funny.
actually a somewhat
The
great
community
improvement.
quickly
The
recognized and
zero G
deciphered the Morse
sections in
code
later
from the
games
Ishimura in
in
the
the
original
second game
reveal
was
that we
way better than the
had.
first game.
People figured it out right away from the blinking, flashing lights. But we didn't see any comments on the subreddit or
And at least
online about the thrusters on Isaac. There was
Right?
nothing.
I
Where was
tolerated
that?
the first
Look
game's
alive,
zero
chat.
G
But
sections, but it is very disorienting.
But yeah.
It's like they
But
definitely
no, it's really
improved it.
interesting because then also, like I was mentioning, it allows us to revisit to the zero G areas, potentially create new ones, and add a whole set of different challenges, sorry, in that were not present in Dead Space 1, that we can now create or recreate because you have all that freedom of motion across that one big ship.
Yep. There was also one question and topic that was prevalent throughout the community that we saw time and time again, and that is the topic of microtransactions. They were apparent in Dead Space 3, so at this point, can you please be transparent and honest regarding microtransactions, and if that
Oh
will make an
man,
appearance in Dead Space 1 Remake?
please
so very,
don't.
very clear, no microtransaction, none
No.
at all, no, nada.
Yes,
That's what I'm
Like
talking
you
about.
mentioned
let's
already
go.
in an
No
interview, I think, yes,
microtransactions.
no,
No.
we don't have that in the remake.
That's awesome.
Good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great to hear.
Yes, we're not.
I think everybody in the chat
Awesome.
and everybody in the
It's on the
community
That's.
record.
I think that's
Right?
like one of the
It's on the
I hope
record
the
now.
crowd is
big
not
problems with the third game. No
That's what we want to hear, okay?
microtransactions. Great
That's two
move,
back of
dude.
the box quotes that we've gotten for the stream already. That's easy, easy. Well done.
Yep.
We've
Everyone
talked a
should be
lot
happy
about
about
the
this. No
improvements, things you want to
microtransactions.
transition, ways you want to improve, not only the gameplay but all the systems around it. But I think one of the things we haven't gotten a chance to talk about is the how do you want to enrich the storytelling in this game as well? There's lots of different aspects to that, and I'd love to hear more thoughts about how you're trying to broaden and expand that as well.
So about
That's a
the
really good move
story
for
and
them.
narrative
No
as a broader
microtransactions,
topic in
definitely
Dead
a
Space.
G.
First, we are not going to change the foundation of the story because that story is really iconic and it's just a great sci-fi horror story. It's really about being Isaac and going into that hulking spaceship and feeling alone and isolated as you try to survive all those space zombies and stuff, and trying to find Nicole, trying to solve that mystery about the marker and stuff. All of those core themes of the originals, those are elements that not only we really want to continue to have in the game, but that we want to build on top of. The things that we want to enrich in terms of story or narrative, it's really about the bigger universe of Dead Space. We want to have more ties with what came after, whether it's the books, whether it's the anime, whether it's Dead Space 2. We want to put back the original in a more, in a better way, if I can say, inside that broader universe. And yes, sometimes it can be through really soul message or the audio links or message in the environment. Sometimes it will be a bit more, and we can come to that later. But also one thing we wanted to make, we wanted to build a bit more on some of the characters around Isaac, whether it's Kendra or Ammon. And one thing for me that's really important in Dead Space is, as Isaac in the story, you're looking for Nicole, but actually in game, not so much, if we can say. So that's something we
Yeah.
want to improve. We want to give you the means to actually look for her, and more than look for her, learn what happened to her during the outbreak. That's one of the elements that
That'll
that
be
we're gonna
interesting.
not
To be able
necessarily
to show.
improve in the story, but enrich, and that we want to add in the lore of the game.
I'm excited for that. Again, that's one of those things where, the world building that you wind up doing through the ship and through those small audio
Honestly,
logs,
if
and
there's a
the
way,
way
it's
you've
just to
kind of
make
talked
us
about
hear more
bringing up
thoughts
some of
about
those
Isaac. Like,
elements
we
into kind
actually
of
hear
a
Isaac
next
speak.
layer that we will be able to get a chance to see.
It will add
I'm just
more
hyped
to
to see
the.
where that's
It.
all going to land,
That's
because
one
it's
way,
just going to
way
be
they can
so
add
cool
more
to see
to
what things, when you do that one-to-one
hear his
comparison, it's like, oh, that
thoughts.
thing got changed, got added there. Um,
Yeah, I definitely had same questions on like my first playthrough and the many other times. It's like, what about the marker? What exactly did happen to Senior Medical Officer Nicole Brennan? I just want more of a cohesive, make us whole narrative type situation, which I'm really hoping that you guys deliver on for this future game.
You will be one of the first to know, I think.
Oh man, you know what I'm saying? Touche.
Council privileges, council privileges. One of the other and kind of big questions that a lot of folks in the community have been wondering about, have been thinking about, and hopefully you'll be able to give us an answer on this one is, will Isaac be voiced in this game?
Well, that's a good question.
Excuse me, I have something to say.
Oh, what?
What?
Excuse me. I have
Oh my
something to
God!
say.
It's Gunner. It's him.
And it's been a long time coming. Hi, I'm
Yay!
Gunnar Wright, and I'm excited to announce that I'm reprising my role as Isaac Clarke for the remake of Dead Space 1. I want to thank all of you for allowing me to give Isaac a voice. I can't wait to suit up, throw that rig on, and do my best to try to keep Isaac alive. Although I've got a feeling some of you might try to keep me from doing that. In the words of Isaac Clarke, stick around. I'm full of bad ideas.
Hey, let's go.
That's what I'm talking about. That's amazing.
Gunner
That is
will be
amazing.
coming back.
He has to.
Gunner is
He's Isaac.
reprising the
Oh my
role.
God.
Let's
to.
go.
He has no
Roman,
choice, okay?
he has no choice.
He
We
is
made
the
him do it.
Isaac Clarke.
Philip
Who
Roman,
else? He's.
share some thoughts on Gunner coming back as Isaac.
Well, actually, it was one of the first things that we discussed with the council at the very beginning. Like, it was one of those open questions that we had. the initial Dead Space, there was obviously no voice for Isaac. But that was changed for Dead Space 2, Dead Space 3. Gunnar played an amazing part in this and delivered a great performance to create that character. And so for us, it was really a question like, oh, should we voice him for this remake or not? Should we stay? Which is why like we engage in that conversation with all the folks on the council to try to see what, from your perspective, what was your opinion on this key topic? And what was clear was that, well, if he's back, it has to be Isaac. It has to be Gunnar. Isaac is Gunnar. And so like we started to have these discussions with casting, and it became very, very clear rapidly that for us, that was the right angle to tackle this topic.
Yes, for me, it's so first, as a fan of Dead Space, before even being on that project, it was, yeah, Gunnar is Isaac. And revisiting Dead Space 1, amazing game, and revisiting Isaac, for me, we needed Isaac to be in Dead Space 1. And so that's why, for me, it was really important, and I was so happy to be able to have him be Isaac in Dead Space 1. But one thing that is really important for us, there is something that is key in the Dead Space theme and ambience. It's the isolation. You're alone. You're alone on that spaceship. You're alone facing those enemies. It's really that feeling of being isolated and alone. And sometimes hearing a voice, it fights against that. Like, you know, you're going to the basement, it's dark, and you're looking for the light, and you talk to yourself because it's reassuring, especially when you're alone in the dark. And so that's something we didn't want it to break in Dead Space. And so Isaac is only going to talk. One of the rules that we have is that Isaac is only going to talk when he's being talked to. He is going to respond. He's going to engage with Eamon. He's going to engage with Kendra and so on. He's going to be part of those discussions. But then, when he's alone, when you're
Negatron, thanks for the follow, dude. I appreciate it. How are you doing?
He's not going to talk. He's not going to break that immersion. He's not going to break that feeling of isolation. But one thing that was important for us, for Isaac as a character, is he's not a space marine. He's a really specific type of character. Not only is Isaac, but also he's an engineer. And so we really wanted to give him more a sense of being the main character of that story, giving more sense of agency on what's going on. And so when there's a new objective, when there's a discussion,
that's a good set of rules. Like, they at least make him speak at times while also making sure like it doesn't take away the experience of Dead Space 1. Those are a good set of rules. Negatron, thanks for a follow, man. I appreciate it. How are you doing?
That's why also we wanted to give him a voice. We wanted to improve the character on.
Sorry, I said the emo chat because I've been invaded by bots. Sorry. How are you doing, Negatron? Now you can speak. I'm so sorry about it.
We couldn't either.
Jackie, what
No, thanks for hanging the other day. I appreciate it, dude.
No, I'm very excited. I mean, this is expected.
Yeah, I was
the council
playing.
very much told you guys.
I was playing Dead Space.
Exactly
I was playing
really
Earth on the Games earlier. Just
through
stopped over at
very excited.
Spokane.
Yeah, I am hyped.
When we're
Even
about to
though
get
I
the
did
next
not get
melody,
part, it's
and I
okay,
got
Gunnar.
Anna.
We will let you rock as Isaac this time around. You know, Dead Space 2 remake. I will be Isaac.
No worries. I'm well aware of the boss problem. Thanks. I really
This is
appreciate
why I love
your
you.
understanding. I
See,
swear.
This is again another back.
The Twitch bots have been absolute worst.
This is the reason why we do this kind of work. We're almost out of time, but
I'm assuming you're the finished Earthbound. Like, you finished your playthrough during your birthday, right?
The folks here watching the chat and everybody else out in the land who are Dead Space fans right now.
Yeah, well, one thing, like I said at the beginning, the purpose.
Oh man, if they're gonna do a Dead Space 2 remake, that would be so awesome. But I feel it's gonna be hard how they'll do the remake because
we've talked about the game.
what's there to build upon on for the second game to remake.
And see and understand what's important for the community. So that's really the purpose for us, and we hope that the community is going to engage so that we can get that feedback back.
And another important element.
Yep, I saw it through and rolled them credits. Nice.
A little bit less than a year.
Again, happy birthday to you, dude. I really hope you enjoyed your day, your special day.
Amazing things, I think, and its production is just starting.
Damn,
And
the
I'm
design is well.
incredibly
These are concept
amazed
arts, so
and
we'll have to wait and
proud
see
of
how it
everything the
actually
team
looks
is doing.
in game.
Like, it's
But
one of
so
the most
far, it's
amazing
been
teams
very
I've
promising.
worked with, and I want to thank them again and again for everything they're
Like,
doing.
of course,
And
there's
not
the
only
improved
because
graphics, the added
globally it's
details they've
amazing, but
done to
also
damage
because
on
it's
necromorphs,
really difficult
and
time for
Gunner
building
Wright
all of this
repricing
game
Isaac
in
Clarke in
that
this game. It's
context
so
and
awesome.
with the pandemic and working from all and all those things. And so being able to see all those assets, all those arts, the gameplay they are building in that context, I'm just like, wow, I'm blown away. Like,
The team's amazing.
thank you very much, guys.
That was a really beautiful concept art you had on the screen there. It was
Yeah, these
medical.
guys are
It was
making
stunning. I
this
can't
game
wait for
remake
everyone to
look
see that
really
when the
promising. I
actual
have
game
high hopes
shipped.
for it. Yep,
It's
it's
This is
Dead
so good to
Space,
see. I
and
want this
So
in the
this is
desktop
the first
background.
look on the remake.
Right? Seriously.
So
I don't even
far,
live
they've
there, but I want
confirmed
that as
that.
also my
So of course, they
desktop.
showed us like the improved
Yeah.
graphics on some of the
Can you hook you
on
up,
some of the
Jackie? We can hook
corridors
you
and
up.
scenes.
Nice. Jackie, before we get up
And
out of here, any
then
last
they
words
also
for the folks at home?
confirm the
Well,
zero G is
I
going to
had a
be
wonderful
the
time, and I want to thank
improved version
Motive
of the
and
zero
EA,
G gravity in Dead Space 2
for
and
allowing
3,
Khalif and I to be a part of this wonderful
and
community. Thank you, Remy and
added
Phil,
level
and
of
also
detail to
thank you all
damage to
the
the
unsung
necromorph. And
heroes, on the
honestly,
dev team working hard to make this ship for the
honestly, the
best
best
possible
part
thing.
of
So thank you so
of this
much.
first look so far is
Yeah,
that
and I'll just come out
the
and say
original
again,
voice actor
Phil and
Gunnar
Roman, the
Wright
rest of the
is
team,
gonna
you all
return
are putting in such great
for
work
Dead Space
to bring
as
this game
Isaac.
back
So
to
it's
life
really
in a
hype.
fantastic way. I, as a huge fan, am
It was an incredible stream. I
extremely
never thought I
excited
had so
to
many come
dangle
through
their
for it.
limbs and do
And
all of those
I'm so
things within
glad that I
that
came through
game.
your stream, dude.
And we hope that also our friends and our compadres
Oh
over
goodness, the
in
heck?
the council as well. We hope we did you proud today. Everybody at home who's watching the stream, make
You
sure you go
sure
check
did us
out
proud,
Dead
man.
Space Twitter account so you can get some more
Judge
updates when they
Judy
go
Slayer,
live.
thanks for the
And again, thank
follow.
you so much
Wait,
for being here
I want to make
today.
sure he's not a.
Take care and
I
see you.
don't know about this. I hope it's not a
Thanks a
bot.
lot, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye.
I have a bad feeling. Okay, so that's actually it for the first look. Yeah, this is actually promising. I'm so hyped for what they're about to offer. This is a good sneak peek and first look on the game. So definitely a good. This definitely they really made this look promising. I've heard that Judgy Slayer is a bot. Okay, just to be sure, yeah. Jeez, I'm getting invaded by bots. Hang on, let me. There's. Just keep on coming. Hang on, I'm just gonna. Hang on. Yeah, they just keep coming. Yeah, just gonna. Yeah, jeez. I know this is a bot. Why? They just keep on coming. Yeah, just need to deal with them. I blurred them on mine. Chat said was a bot. Yeah, Negatron. I'm telling you, we are really being haunted by these bots. And I've heard there's a certain there's like there's definitely bots who do hate raids, especially when they're offline, and that's the last thing I want to deal with. In fact, we both all don't want to deal with it. So, geez. Yeah, I did the same. I saw one in action on the live channel. Which one was it? What was it? A hate raid? Oh man, I'm doing the day off tomorrow. Yeah, anti black in particular. Yeah, Negatron. When you're offline, when you're not streaming, for sure, just to be safe, just set your your stream chat to emote only chat. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the alert, like when I saw who are the follows, literally you're the only person who followed. Like one of the only you're one like literally the only one who I know who's not a bot who's followed. The rest are for sure bots, and for sure they. My goodness, they end up ruining the followers goal again. I have to reset it. Ah, God, the bots are the absolute worst. I have to I have to reset the goal because despite the fact that they're bots, they still end up being added as if they're actual followers when they're not. They're just bots trying to get me in trouble. I so hate this. And it should be 491. So yeah, that's the true amount. Okay, much better. They used to be just the bots that security testers added to test Twitch security. But now there's so many. Yeah, it's so crazy, man. I don't even get why they allowed this. It's so ass. And different aims for sure, like I don't understand why they let this happen. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the first look. And goddamn Negatron, I wish you dropped in before, like at least because I was doing an Earthbound Beginnings playthrough. You kind of missed it out, and I'm ready about. I really wish you like came in earlier, but it's okay. I think I'll stream. I'll definitely stream it again tomorrow. I'm gonna continue the playthrough of Earthbound Beginnings tomorrow. Again, I stopped over at Spook Games, so I'm about to get the next melody, which is the haunted piano. So like so far, I only got three melodies in the first. I got the three melodies in the game. So like I have at least four more to go. So yeah, Negatron, I hope you can drop by again tomorrow, and for sure you'll be able to catch in my on my playthrough. I'm definitely doing like a Mother Trilogy playthrough, and I'm just doing Earthbound Beginnings first, and we'll follow up with Earthbound, and finally Mother Tree. I'll try to make it in, buddy. Awesome. So yeah, actually that is pretty much it for the stream. So to end the stream off, I'm gonna raid. Negatron, do you have any suggestion and who should I send us over? Because for sure, if I'm gonna raid, I'm definitely gonna have to send us over to someone. Do you know anyone who I should raid? Alright, dude. Could be, honestly, it can be anything. Either if it's Earthbound or Smash or Dead Space, or it could be anything. So it could be anything. So yeah. So tomorrow for sure I'm gonna continue my Earthbound Beginnings playthrough to continue the Mother Trilogy run. Definitely I had to stop over at Spookane. It was kinda pretty short, mainly because of this first look. I had literally stopped for this. Lucifer Malik, she's doing Bloodborne, big friend of the channel and participant in my charity event in October. Alright, I'll send a sword to Lucifer Malik then, as you suggested. Okay, so I'll go send us over for the raid now. Wait, is it still... Alright, Lucifer Malik, right? Okay. Yes, I hype. You rule. I got you, man. Gotta have to show support for others. Time to send us over for a raid. So, yep, that's actually it for that. Again, that's it for tonight's stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow. You guys have yourselves a good day, good night, wherever you guys are. And for those who have not followed yet, I'd appreciate it if you guys do follow because I'm doing a followers goal. If you guys help me reach 500, as in like 500 followers, once I reach past it, I'll go finally make myself a stream community Discord, which honestly I should have had, but I wanted to make it like find some kind of goal to follow. So why not go with this first? So yeah, thanks for stream. Gotcha, Negatron. Hope you can catch again soon. Hope you can drop by tomorrow for the playthrough because legit, I was doing a playthrough. Oh shoot, I was gonna also yeah, I'll probably do the. I was trying to do a copy paste, but yeah. Thanks Negatron for the follow. I really do appreciate it, and thanks as well for thank yeah thanks for dropping by, dude. I really appreciate it. So yeah, see you guys, and you'll stay safe. Let's go send some to Lucifer.